Hey guys, Ridiculous Badger coming at you from Planet 545, and let's talk about the stuff that you gotta do in the beginning of the game before you have event gear, even though everyone's just talking about event gear. Well, how do you get started? So, very, very early on, you will be able to, you're gonna get access through going through Explore to get the different levels of gear. I'm going to assume that you already have access to your epic level gear, which is the yellow gear, and that you have the capability to craft legendary gear. The first tier of legendary gear, the Mongoose, the Anaconda, Hawk, Chameleon, Heavy Storm, do not spend really any melange on this stuff. Your first goal should be to get towards the Soul Eater, Whisperer, Dragon Slayer. Everything south of that Soul Eater is where you want to get started on. And that's gear that you can live with and utilize for a very large portion of the game. So start with, from this legendary gear. The defense could be used, the chess pieces can be used on any comm, the pangolin and the chaladra. The pangolin gives you defense and HP, whereas the chaladra gives you just more defense. In my opinion, you should go for the chaladra in almost all cases. The reason that I do this is, number one, very recently they have changed the way that defense works, or at least they've changed a certain quality of it that punishes you for having your defense debuffed to lower than 0. Then the enemy does a multiplicative damage increase. It's not something that you want to be on the business end of. So make sure your defense is high, and it's so much easier to get a good craft on a piece of gear that only has one attribute, like a chaladra, rather than two, like a pangolin. In a case where there are two attributes, you have twice as much chance to get a bad score. Is the way I look at it. Or that's actually not true. But there are two things that you have the capability to get a bad score on, and in order to place in the top 10% of both of these attributes, in order to get an 18 or above on defense and an 8 or above on HP, it's a much harder craft than trying to get a 27 or above defense on a chaladra. It's only one attribute. It's only one roll. So for that reason, I like to go for the chaladra. The other piece of gear that is good for every comm is legs. You've got Lightning Bolt, which gives you dodge and HP. And then Gale, which gives you dodge. I play Infantry. I prefer the extra dodge. I've seen very, very few Lightning Bolts. In general, I see Lightning Bolts on Walker players or people who are playing Plasma because they don't really understand how the HP interfaces with Plasma's damage. Really, the Lightning Bolt does not help you with a Plasma. At the level that you would be utilizing the Lightning Bolt rather than something better like event gear or faction gear, you'll be using low-tier troops with the Plasma whose bottleneck to damage is going to be attack and not an HP. Dodge is very, very effective at outlasting the enemy up until the middle of the game. In the middle of the game, people start inlaying 4-set gem sets. They get access to sure hit skills that could burn right through your dodge. But then later on in the game, dodge tends to become a thing again, especially with Galactic Battle and Tier 1 fights. Until you get to faction gear, you're going to be using a Gale. And as an aside, because dodge is so important in the beginning of the game, that's why I recommend go Nixa faction first, get your pants for the dodge, get your Stella, and then move on to Maduel or Voltar if a guildmate can't sell you the pants, because the accuracy is going to help you out a lot. As far as weapons go, on air, you want to go Thunder. That Thunder, that plus 40, is better than the initial stat of attack on an Apocalyptor. So if you get a Thunder that's above 30%, that's better than an APOC would scale at, except it doesn't have accuracy. Once again, aim in the top 36, you'll be fine. Sunstriker is not going to be something impactful for your average air player because air gets crit research and crit maxes out at 100%. At 100% of crit, you're going to be critting every time, just about. There's a mechanic in there that kind of gets in the way of that. Max air crit research is 240%. You only need 100. This thing is out. As far as walkers go, Dirge gives you an amazing amount of accuracy. Walkers already get accuracy research. However, you can almost never have too much accuracy, especially in the beginning of the game when people are going to be using dodge. You want to really double down on that accuracy from walkers. However, the Dragon Slayer is a great piece of gear. So it might be great for you as a walker player to play a Dirge and a Dragon Slayer. You might play 2 Dragon Slayers. You might play 2 Dirges, like if you're using Rock. Plus 15 to 30 accuracy, almost as good as that Dirge. Plus 10 to 20 attack. Great synergy right there. For infantry, this Whisper, again, 25 to 40 crit. Your research is going to be plus 120 by the end with infantry. It's going to take you a while to get your crit research with infantry up to 100, but eventually it will get there. I don't love making short-term investments. To me, this crit doesn't work for me. This is a unitasker, folks. Soul Eater is going to be great at closing the gap for you. It will give you crit, and honestly, when I craft a Soul Eater, I don't pay attention to the crit at all on the thing. I've never cared about the crit on the Soul Eater. It's just something that, if I'm running a Soul Eater, I'm probably running 2 Soul Eaters. If I'm running 2 Soul Eaters, it's probably a crit of plus 40 or 50. You know, yeah, maybe in the beginning of the game you could throw a crit gem on there, but just understand that eventually that thing is going to go in the dumpster. You're going to inlay over it. The accuracy plus 10 to 20, this is key. The infantry has low accuracy when compared to walkers, and you need accuracy. Accuracy is one of the most important stats in the game. I'm probably going to get nailed for this, but I think between attack and accuracy, and then maybe the third in my book would be dodge. Like, those are the most important. But, yeah, I mean, look, other stuff's important too. You want to have defense and HP. Whatever, you get what I'm saying. Accuracy is super important. And when you craft these, you're going to be paying attention to accuracy. And if you got a bullet, you want those to be 20. It's going to take you a while, but this is currently best gear in slot. So if you're serious about your bullet, you're going to get 2 20s on there. I'm OCD, and that's your guys' problem now. Thanks a lot for joining me on this journey to the center of the gear.